Hello once again, I'm Master Goffrin and welcome back to Let's Play Eternal Daughter. We resume where we ended last episode in a new section of Blue Mountain. This new area packs a few surprises. Surprises like horrible witch monsters which appear from nowhere. In this open area we'll find an old friend. It's our old pal Faust, or at least I assume it is. He doesn't say anything or acknowledge us in any way, so it's a fairly safe bet that it is him. Otherwise in the main area the cats are back, however they're basically identical to how they were before and barely an obstacle. The pale-faced witches though appear from nowhere, move a short distance and shoot fireballs at you. These fireballs can hurt. Another blast from the past is the Ignite Ice Warrior. He only has his lunge attacks this time though. It can be a tough deal managing him, the pale faces and the gloom eyes all at once, but if I was actually attacking he'd die quite easily. However, if he does hit you, it's going to come in at 6 damage, or alternatively without the armor Chalvar gave us 12 damage. This really is not a place you want to come without first clearing out the caves and getting those rewards. Another thing to note is that none of the enemies here, not one, drop any power-ups at all. In addition, that was the only save point. As a result, even the now fairly mild hits from the pale faces can quickly mount up. Fortunately, with our 8 attack power, they go down to a single hit of our main attack. Anything less than that and they'll take 2 hits, which makes a big difference. That also means they take 2 hits from the charge helm, so if they do catch you out, you're better off charging through their fireballs than actually attacking them with it. While there's an exit on the right, you can see that there's a way up here. Surely then, this means that there will be prizes hidden above. It's actually kind of tough to get up there, since you have to kind of try and balance when you use your Mojax with when you get attacked by a witch. Unfortunately, the only thing up there is loads of spikes, which is more than a little disappointing. For those aspirants hoping to climb Blue Mountain's peak, this area is the very bane of their lives. There's all the dangers of the last area and also a huge pit to fall into below. If you fall into said pit, you don't die, but much like last time, Faust swoops in to rescue you and returns you to where we saw him sitting earlier, and you have to start your climb over. In addition to that, this platforming is a little different. Up until getting to the stone block door, the double jump was still kind of optional. I'm not 100% certain, but it would explain why there were still a few useless platforms and trampolines in previous areas. At the very least, you certainly need it for those jumps. The only power up in this whole area is this ammo pickup. It's there for a reason, but there's an extra use for it as well. You can Mojack up this wall to find a life upgrade, however you're likely to get ambushed by a witch. I managed it okay, but accidentally wall jumped and had to climb up there again. The life refill is nice, but not entirely necessary as we'll see shortly. So why is there ammo here? Well, on top of the armour to quell the brutal damage, you also need Ozar's Flame. Unlike the optional sigil, you need the flame for these little stands on the ground. They're actually torches and you need the flame to light them, and when you do, platforms appear. For some reason your charge shot won't light them, so if you don't have the flame, good luck working this one out. Fortunately, it's only on the attempt where you finally get this far, in what is really quite a difficult area, that you find this roadblock and feel massively confused and annoyed. Also, I guess it turns out I still bear a little animosity on that issue. And it's as easy as that, there's no boss here or anything. Jormund's gift lets us carry more secondary weapon ammo, which is actually pretty mediocre as gifts go. Helpfully, he has a pit behind him that we can jump into. With the express elevator taken, I'd like to give a little advice. Be careful when approaching Jormund. When he starts talking to you, all it does is disable your control, it doesn't stop you moving, so don't try anything fancy, just walk up to him. I can assure you that this is the voice of experience. The bitter disappointment of having accidentally leapt off of that edge aside, we're now ready for the trial. Our familiar, however, isn't. Once again, he must be fed copious amounts of fruit in order to become fat. Lorien Forest is a great place to accomplish this goal, there's fruit everywhere and nothing can hurt us. However, I need to make clear exactly how much fruit this is going to take without actually showing you, so as we arrive in my preferred spot for this task, it's time to switch to montage format. Excluding the free fruits on the way in, there was about 34 fruits and 75 seconds of footage. With that last fruit devoured, this is our familiar's final form, a creepy imp type thing. Now he's much more combat effective, breathing several fireballs onto enemies, although these birds are dying to a single hit. Ideally you'd like him to reach this form much earlier, and if you know where you're going you'll have to grind some fruit eventually, so you might as well do it first. I think the familiar's growth being so easily outpaced is a bit naff, but when I didn't know what I was doing, it still made me feel like I was making some progress, even when I wasn't. And if you are replaying the game you can always cheat to get him early. However, before we venture to the trial, maybe we should fill up our magic since we haven't visited Manor in a while. and there's a gift of Jormund in action, 99 magic powers. Well, since we have so much, what could we do with that? Well, I'm sure you remember the shaft in Dungarga City that I didn't have enough ammo to ascend. Surely then, with almost 50 Mojack shots, I can't fail to get up there. And with the gift of fast forward, it's only mere moments away too. Well, okay, several mere moments. The charge helm and Chalzar's armour make the previously incredibly hard section of Dungarga City much easier, but it's still quite a long journey, so I'm going to edit out the trip back. And here we are. Going up here does actually count towards your completion percentage too, so I'm going to have to actually travel back rather than just reload my save. It really is a long way up though, so I'm going to whip out the fast forward again, though to a lesser extent. I could be making bigger jumps, but that's a great way to accidentally wall jump and have to start over. "21 Mojacks later and we're at the top. And if you plotted out each play area, I think this would also be much higher than Blue Mountain ever got. Now, what is this place, I hear you ask? It's a zoo, and the only place you can learn the actual names for the monsters in the game. Not all of the monsters though. The walkthrough guy, Alan Chen, posted about his walkthrough on the old Black Eye software forums, with only the names you can find here for the mobs, and some interesting ones that he came up with himself. Derek Yu went ahead and responded to him with almost all the names for the rest of the enemies in the game, although not the bosses, sadly. As a result, this is the only hint we get as to the name of the plant boss in the previous episode. Perhaps it was some kind of giant cactus. It's also worth pointing out that these guys aren't being treated as enemies by our familiar, and he happily ignores them all. It's also nice to contrast the text with what Crazy Geddy said when he was trying to sell us everything. It wouldn't really be fair if I didn't also mention that you said he actually prefers the names that people would make up for the enemies. However, that isn't really my forte, so I prefer to stick to the facts. Well, I'd specifically recommend a charge helm. Well, they don't think very highly of the mermen, and that's it. Around 13 of the 40 odd things in the game that could do with a name get one here, so as a menagerie it is a little limited, but its main attraction is that you get to read what the Dungarga's thoughts are on each of the creatures. The trip back to the mines was as uneventful as the trip here, so as mentioned, just going to snip that one out. As loath as I am to do that, I think I've beaten around the bush quite enough. The only way you know when you're ready for the trial is to go there all the time and ask Fendu, so if you don't know that it's one of the last things we'll be doing in the game, you end up coming back here a lot. Fortunately, it is quite near the entrance. The choice is indeed ours, excepting of course that, unless we glitch the game, you must complete the trial in order to make any more progress. In order for Fendu to let you through, you must have gotten the first 4 gifts of the gods, and gotten your familiar to his final form. I'm not sure if you actually need to have gotten the charge helm or any particular number of heart or weapon upgrades, accepting that the game would be near impossible without them. The only thing I know for sure is that you definitely don't need the sigil. Fortunately, they've provided a save point just before the exit here, and that's because the trial is actually just a boss. That actually works out quite well, since that's exactly what we were missing after Blue Mountain. Okay, so it turns out Offender was trapped in some form of floating gem prison, and we're tasked to free him. On top of the prison, he has an energy sphere on the left here, which will shortly begin rolling around the perimeter of the arena. By now, Offendu's cycle has already started repeating. He's fairly straightforward mechanically. We're a little out of sync here, so I'll just start from where we are. He moves to the centre of the arena, shoots balls of energy at you, and moves to a position he feels he can shoot you with his 8-way laser staffing. Then he'll move somewhere else. Generally you'll be able to hit him now, but sometimes he moves too high or below you off screen. Then he moves back to the centre and the process repeats. The simple cycle hides the true dangers in what's now the fairly typical fly in the ointment style of many of these boss fights. The rolling energy sphere is rarely even on the playfield, but as a result it can often catch you out when you're trying to dodge his spheres or star laser. It also conceals his largest and, on occasion, most difficult to dodge attack, his huge gem body. If he moves to either side of the arena after his star shot, he can easily smack you when he unexpectedly starts moving to return to the centre. He can also pin you into a corner while his energy sphere trundles over you, which, unless you've gotten used to abusing the head charge, makes it fairly likely that you'll get hurt. While you may also choose to head charge through his sphere stream attack, you can also stand slightly to one side and move below him, as for some reason this confuses his targeting and he'll miss you completely. With regard to damage, everything Offendu's prison does hits for 3 health, the giant sphere for 4, so if you have to choose, pick him. For secondary weapons I would recommend the hammers since you can hit him when he's off screen with them, and Ozar's flame since you can shoot it and run away. They're not really necessary though. And now we have obtained the true final form of our familiar, Splatterhouse Poochie. Ilanduru lets us fly to any area we couldn't previously get to. I only noticed recently when posting a picture of the statues' faces, but the symbol on their chests is the same as the game's executable icon. I think it only appears in precisely one other location in the game, so I do wonder what this symbol means. At this point in the game there are about 8 places we have yet to go to. Most of them are small and half of those contain nothing but static ammo power-ups. However, one place in particular does come to mind. Well, 2 places actually. First is the cubbyhole with the last attack upgrade. Second is our hometown where the Temple of Valuriel is, so we can get the final gift. From here on out the game is perfectly linear in terms of objectives, so it never forces your hand on where to go, so you can still go back and collect all of the optional things that you've yet to obtain. Of course, being able to fly helps quite a lot with that. A couple of notes on flying though. First, it takes Ilanduru a moment to come and pick you up. Secondly, you can't fly forever. As soon as the red bar runs out, Ilanduru drops you. And well, here we go, it's number 9. If you thought the level 8 attack looked good, well, 9 looks better. Check this out. Well, that looks to me like green death lightning. It doesn't get any better than that. No, really, it doesn't get any better than that. We now have everything in the game, except for the last few life upgrades, which we'll be getting next episode. Well, we're at 94% completion now, so I'll leave you with this. I hope you're ready for a little family reunion. See you next time!